He who is brave is free. Seneca. What if I told you that the secret to making people value you isn't chasing them, pleading for attention, or bending over backward to be needed, but letting go entirely? Imagine the freedom of no longer feeling trapped by someone else's approval, of no longer measuring your worth by who stays or who walks away. What if, instead of clinging, you could step back, detach, and watch as people who once took you for granted come crawling back, drawn to the calm confidence you radiate? In this video, we're diving deep into the Stoic art of detachment. Not coldness, not indifference, but a powerfully controlled presence that commands respect without a single word. You'll discover why mastering your own mind, emotions, and attachments can turn relationships, influence, and even social dynamics completely on their head. Stick with me until the very end, because the lessons I'm about to share aren't just ideas. They're actionable practices that will shift the way people see you, respond to you, and ultimately, the way you see yourself. By the time this video finishes, you won't just understand detachment. You'll feel it, live it, and wield it as the invisible force that makes others come back on their own. Number 1, value yourself above others' opinions. You need to hear this clearly. Your worth is not determined by the applause of others. Every time you let someone else's opinion dictate your mood, your decisions, your sense of self, you give them a tiny piece of your power. And here's the hard truth. You've got only so much energy, only so much focus, and it is precious. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone does wrong, it is because of ignorance, not because of you." Carry that wisdom with you. When you start to see that other people's judgments are reflections of their fears, biases, and misunderstandings, rather than your reality, a shift happens. You begin to value yourself more than their approval. That's where detachment begins, not coldly ignoring the world, but refusing to be enslaved by it. Now, let's make this practical. Start by noticing every time you hesitate to speak, act, or choose because of imagined criticism. Pause and ask yourself, does this opinion actually matter? Does it improve me, guide me, or serve my purpose? If not, let it slide like water off your skin. This isn't arrogance, it's clarity. This is Stoic freedom. You're not trying to control others, only your response. Every moment you act from internal guidance rather than external pressure, you reinforce the habit of self-value. You learn to stand firmly on your own ground, confident that your choices are enough, your voice enough, your presence enough. Here's a powerful exercise. Each morning, affirm your principles aloud. Remind yourself that your moral compass, your effort, your integrity, these are the measures that matter. Not the likes, not the gossip, not the whispers behind your back. Then, throughout your day, practice noticing when you crave approval. Catch yourself in the act, breathe, and redirect that energy inward. Ask yourself, am I living to please them or to honor myself? This small moment of reflection rewires your mind over time. People who once held sway over you, whose approval you silently chased, begin to lose their grip. And here's the secret. When you stop trying to pull them in, when you stop bending and contorting to fit their expectations, they often come crawling back on their own. Respect doesn't grow from desperation. It blooms from self-respect. You'll also notice a subtle shift in your interactions. When you stop reacting to judgment, you listen more, you speak with purpose, and you move through the world with a quiet confidence that's magnetic. People may still voice opinions, but you'll see them for what they are, just noise. And in that silence between their words and your reaction, you find power. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Craving validation from others is poverty of spirit. Valuing yourself above their praise or criticism is wealth in the richest sense. You are wealthy in presence, in conviction, in inner harmony. This wealth cannot be taken, only cultivated. Every day you prioritize it, every time you choose self-respect over external validation, your detachment deepens, your freedom grows. Finally, commit to this as a lifestyle, not a single act. Make it your rule. Your worth is yours alone. Let others speak, judge, and misinterpret. You remain steady. Let their opinions wash over you like leaves on a river because you know your course and your values. You'll find a serenity that surprises you, a clarity that liberates you. And here's the beautiful twist. As you stop seeking their approval, you stop fearing their departure. People may drift, they may leave, but your peace remains intact. Those who are meant to be in your life, drawn to the energy of your self-respect, will naturally return. Detachment isn't absence of care, it's care without dependence. When you truly value yourself above all else, the world responds, not by granting you control, but by recognizing the gravity you carry effortlessly. And that, my friend, is the quiet mastery of Stoicism in its most potent form. Number 2, stop chasing validation or approval. Imagine this. Every time you bend, twist, or contort yourself to meet someone else's expectations, you're handing over fragments of your power. Each word you speak to seek approval, each action you take to earn a nod or a smile, it's not just a fleeting moment. It's a thread in a web that binds you to the whims of others. You may think that chasing validation is harmless, that a little recognition won't cost much. But the truth is, it costs you more than you realize. Your peace, your clarity, your freedom, they're all on the line every time you put someone else's judgment above your own inner compass. Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." That power exists within you, but it cannot flourish if you constantly look outward for approval. So stop chasing it. Stop running after the hollow echoes of like me or see me. Understand that approval is external. It's fleeting, inconsistent, and often manipulative. People will change their minds, shift their moods, or move on entirely. And if your worth hinges on them, you will crash and burn with each twist of their favor. Instead, turn your gaze inward. Build your sense of self on a foundation that no one can shake. Ask yourself, am I acting because it aligns with my values, my vision, my principles, or am I acting to be liked? When you can answer that honestly, a remarkable thing happens. Your actions begin to carry authenticity. And authenticity has a magnetic pull that validation can never compete with. Here's a simple exercise you can do. Before you seek input, approval, or affirmation, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it reflects who I am or because I want someone else to nod? Let that question linger, let it sink in. This pause, seemingly small, creates a space where your mind can act freely, untethered from the need for approval. Over time, you'll notice that you're calmer, more deliberate, more decisive. You will speak less to be heard and act more because it matters. Now, this doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent to others. Stoicism isn't about isolating yourself from the human experience. It's about choosing where you place your energy. When you stop chasing validation, you're not rejecting others. You're rejecting the idea that your peace and worth should ever be negotiable. Epictetus teaches, no man is free who is not master of himself. Mastering yourself begins with detaching from the endless pursuit of someone else's approval. You reclaim your freedom, your focus, your mental clarity, and suddenly the world no longer dictates your mood. Your happiness, your sense of success, your sense of pride, they become yours independent of applause. And here's the secret. Once you truly stop chasing, the dynamic of human interaction flips. People notice confidence that is self-contained. They sense a presence that isn't begging for validation. This shift is subtle but profound. They will respond differently, respect differently, and if they were once distant or critical, they may come closer not because you forced them but because you ceased to need them. It's ironic. When you stop reaching outward for affirmation, the world often leans in. You create a magnetic energy, a quiet gravity that cannot be manufactured through begging or pleading. You can practice this daily. Set a small rule for yourself. Today, in every conversation, hold back one remark that you would normally make for approval or agreement. Don't seek to be liked, don't seek to win. Simply speak from truth, from alignment with your own values. Observe how it feels, how others react, and how your inner state shifts. Every day you practice this, you are rewiring your mind, teaching it to rely on internal validation. Step by step, you will become less reactive, less needy, less tethered to external moods. You will become, in essence, unshakable. Remember, approval is a currency controlled by others. You can chase it endlessly, deplete yourself, and still feel empty. Or you can mint your own currency: self-respect, self-trust, self-mastery. This currency never devalues, never fades with time, never wavers with the tides of opinion. It is yours because it resides inside you, not in the eyes or mouths of others. And when your foundation is built on this, detachment becomes natural. You no longer need to chase. You no longer need to plead. You simply exist with quiet confidence, and everything else aligns. So let this be your commitment. Stop chasing validation. Pause before seeking approval. Build your internal compass and act from it. Observe your reactions, refine your motives, and claim your freedom. The world will notice, not because you shouted, but because you stood firmly in your own power. And the more you cultivate this, the more you'll realize that true influence, true respect, true presence never comes from chasing. It comes from mastery over yourself. In the stillness of detachment, in the quiet authority of self-respect, people will come to you. They'll come not because you demanded it, not because you chased it, but because you became the kind of person they cannot ignore. And that, my friend, is the Stoic path to power. Number 3, focus on your own growth and goals. When you focus on your own growth and goals, something almost magical happens. You shift your energy away from others, away from the endless drama of expectations and emotional entanglements, and you channel it into something undeniably yours: your life. Think about it. How often do you find yourself lost in the whirl of other people's opinions, actions, or approvals? You expend effort reacting, adjusting, pleasing, defending, or chasing. That's energy you could redirect toward building yourself, toward mastering skills, nurturing your mind, and sculpting your character. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's exactly it. You don't need to explain, justify, or compete. You simply become. You evolve. You improve. And this evolution is magnetic. When your focus is internal, when your ambitions are clear and personal, others can't help but notice. They'll gravitate toward you, not because you demand attention, but because your presence radiates stability, confidence, and direction. Start small, but start consistently. Each day, ask yourself, what is one step I can take today that serves my growth, not someone else's expectations? Maybe it's learning something new, building a habit, or refining a skill. Maybe it's quiet reflection, journaling, or planning the week ahead with intention. The specifics don't matter as much as the act of choosing yourself, of prioritizing your journey over distractions. Every choice like this compounds. Every moment spent investing in yourself increases your value, your resilience, and your influence. And here's the thing about focus: it's contagious. People are naturally drawn to those who know their path, who carry a sense of purpose that is unmistakable. You don't have to chase, you don't have to plead, you don't even have to announce it. Your dedication speaks for you. Remember, this is not about isolation or detachment from humanity. It's about detachment from dependence. Stoicism teaches that our peace, our growth, and our success should never hinge on someone else's recognition or involvement. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your growth is your reaction. When you immerse yourself in it fully, when you commit to developing yourself regardless of who supports, notices, or follows you, you reclaim the most powerful form of control over your own life. And ironically, it is this very control, this calm self-possession, that draws others back. They sense your independence, your self-sufficiency, and yes, they can't resist the pull of someone who is centered, purposeful, and untouchable by petty concerns. Practicality is key here. Begin with clarity. Write down what your goals are. Forget the noise of comparison. Forget what others expect of you. Define your metrics for progress. Then guard your time fiercely. Let distractions, emotional noise, and unnecessary drama drift away. Each time you feel the pull to invest your energy in someone else's chaos, pause. Ask, does this serve me, my growth, my trajectory? If the answer is no, release it without guilt. If the answer is yes, engage fully with intent and focus. Over time, this discipline becomes second nature. It reshapes how you think, how you act, and how others perceive you. Growth also requires patience. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, and that's the beauty of it. You're building a foundation so strong that nothing outside of you can shake it. The key is consistency. Keep showing up for yourself day after day. Keep nurturing your skills, your habits, and your mind. Keep measuring progress against your own standards, not the fleeting opinions of others. Over time, you'll notice a shift. The more anchored you become in your own purpose, the less you're pulled by external validation. That's detachment at work. That's freedom. That's power. Here's an exercise to embed this into your daily life. At the start of each morning, take 5 minutes to visualize your day through the lens of your goals. See yourself acting intentionally, making choices that elevate your growth. Feel the energy of each action aligning with your ambitions. Then each evening reflect. What actions served my development today? What distractions or reactions could I have released? This dual practice, projection in the morning, reflection at night, cements your focus and strengthens your independence. It creates a rhythm where your growth is no longer reactive but proactive. And here's the final truth. When you master this focus, when you dedicate yourself to your own growth with calm, consistent effort, the world responds differently. The people who once demanded your attention, tried to manipulate your energy, or tested your patience, they begin to notice the shift. They sense your presence is no longer available for their whims. And paradoxically, that very unavailability, that quiet strength, draws them closer. They come crawling back, not because you sought them, but because your life became magnetic, compelling, and untouchable. They respect what they cannot control, and you gain the ultimate leverage, the freedom to continue growing on your own terms. So start now. Choose yourself today. Focus on your growth relentlessly. Let the world adjust. Let them watch as you rise, as you transform, as you become someone who doesn't need to chase or prove anything. Your journey is yours. Let it be the anchor, the magnet, and the power that reshapes every interaction you have. They'll come crawling back, yes, but not because you begged or pleaded. They'll come because you mastered the art of focusing on yourself, and in doing so, mastered the art of detachment, resilience, and unshakable strength. Number 4, embrace solitude without fear. Imagine yourself standing alone in a quiet room. No distractions, no noise, no voices pulling at your attention. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little frightening. But here's the thing. Solitude is not your enemy, it is your ally. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." When you learn to embrace being alone, you start to notice a profound truth. Your peace, your stability, your sense of self does not depend on anyone else. You don't need constant validation or external stimulation. Solitude becomes a playground for your mind, a canvas for your thoughts, and a training ground for your spirit. You can cultivate clarity, self-awareness, and inner strength simply by sitting with yourself, by breathing, by observing your own reactions, and by letting your mind wander freely without panic. Many shy away from solitude because they mistake it for loneliness. But there is a subtle, transformative difference here. Loneliness is a feeling of lack, a sense that something essential is missing. Solitude, on the other hand, is a choice. It is choosing to step back, to let the world swirl around you without being pulled into its chaos. When you embrace solitude without fear, you reclaim control over your attention, your emotions, and your time. You start to see the world and the people in it with a clarity that only comes when your mind is unclouded by constant noise. You notice what matters, what doesn't, and most importantly, you notice yourself. You can start right now. Take a small moment each day, maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour, where you are fully alone, free from distractions. No phone, no music, no obligations. Sit quietly, observe your breathing, and let your thoughts drift without judgment. You will notice the first discomfort, the itch of restlessness. That's your mind testing you, asking, are you truly okay without the constant input of others? And your answer, simply by remaining present, is yes. Each session strengthens your ability to stand firm within yourself. Each moment of solitude is a declaration. You are complete as you are. As you grow comfortable in your own company, a curious thing happens. The urge to cling, to seek approval, to chase attention, these begin to fade. Your value is no longer defined by others' presence or absence. You start to move through the world with a quiet confidence, a calm magnetism. People sense it. They are drawn to your composure, to the self-sufficiency that radiates without arrogance. You no longer chase, you attract. This is the paradox of Stoic detachment. The less you need others, the more naturally they gravitate toward you. To deepen this practice, create rituals that honor your solitude. Write your thoughts without expectation, walk alone in nature, meditate on your own priorities, or simply sit with a cup of tea and watch the world move past. These are not passive acts. They are exercises in presence, in mastering the art of being with yourself. Every time you choose solitude over distraction, you build resilience. You fortify your mind against dependency, against the sway of emotional whims, against the pressure to perform for approval. And remember, fear is a natural companion in this process. The pull of the world, the whisper of loneliness, the temptation to fill silence with noise, they are all tests. Meet them with curiosity, not panic. Ask yourself, what am I learning about myself right now? How can this moment strengthen me? The answers often arrive not in words, but in a subtle shift in your sense of self, a steadiness, a quiet assurance that you are enough, here, alone, fully present. In embracing solitude without fear, you also embrace freedom. You free your attention from the endless demands of others. You free your emotions from being at the mercy of people who don't understand your depth. You free your time to think, to plan, to reflect, to become who you are meant to be. And here's the most powerful part. Once you are comfortable with yourself, the world no longer holds power over you. Relationships, opportunities, even conflicts, they no longer shake your core because your core does not hinge on them. You stand anchored in your own presence, calm and unshakable. Practice this daily. Treat solitude not as a punishment, but as a gift. Celebrate it, protect it, and use it intentionally. Watch how it changes the way you engage with the world. Watch how it transforms your relationships, not by forcing others, but by shifting your own energy and presence. Remember Epictetus, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Solitude teaches this. It reminds you that you are your own refuge, your own strength, your own source of peace. Embrace solitude and you will find that fear dissolves. You will find that quiet confidence replaces the need for constant approval. You will discover an inner reservoir of calm, clarity, and magnetism that draws the right people and opportunities to you effortlessly. They will come crawling back, not because you chased them, but because you stopped chasing entirely. You have mastered yourself, and in doing so, you have mastered detachment. You have stepped into the quiet power that the Stoics cherished above all else. You are whole, you are free, and in that freedom, everything else falls into place. This is the transformative magic of solitude. It is your silent weapon. It is your secret strength. Embrace it without fear and watch how life bends to the quiet, unwavering force of your presence. Number 5, detach from outcomes, not effort. You need to understand something fundamental. Detachment isn't about giving up, and it's not about laziness. It's about understanding where your control truly lies. You can pour yourself into your work, your relationships, your ambitions, your passions, but the outcomes, those are never entirely yours to command. This is a hard pill to swallow because society trains us to measure our worth by results, by the reactions we get, by the successes and failures that define external validation. But the Stoics remind us, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. That is the heart of detachment. You focus on the effort, on the craft, on the intention. You give fully, yet you release the expectation of how it must unfold. Think about how much mental energy you waste chasing results that may never arrive. How often have you stressed over someone's response, an opportunity slipping away, or an outcome that didn't match your vision? That tension, that anxiety, that mental tug-of-war, none of it comes from your effort. It comes from your insistence on controlling what cannot be controlled. When you detach from outcomes, you reclaim that energy. You become free to do your best consistently without your peace being hostage to what others decide, to what life decides. Effort becomes its own reward, its own practice, its own form of power. But detaching from outcomes doesn't mean detaching from responsibility. Quite the opposite. You pour yourself fully into each task, each conversation, each endeavor. You sharpen your focus, you refine your skills, you commit to showing up at your highest level. You act with intention, with purpose, knowing that the universe may respond in ways you can't predict. This is subtle but profound. Effort is yours. Outcomes are not. Mastering this distinction is like stepping out of a storm and into clear skies. You're still moving, still striving, still alive. But now calmness and clarity guide you rather than fear or desperation. Try this exercise. Pick one area of your life where results have been a constant source of stress, an interaction, a goal, a project. Now make a list of all the steps you can take that are fully within your control. Write them down. Then consciously tell yourself, I release what is not mine to command. Every time you feel anxiety creeping in about what might happen, return to this list. Your focus is effort. Your peace is non-negotiable. Gradually, this practice rewires your mindset. You begin to understand that the universe doesn't reward stress or desperation. It responds to clarity, consistency, and composed action. Here's another angle. When you detach from outcomes, you actually increase your influence. Ironically, the more you stop clinging, the more others are drawn to your calm, confident presence. People sense the steadiness, the unshakable energy, the fact that your value is inherent and not contingent. You stop negotiating for approval or validation, and suddenly doors that were previously slammed begin to open. The Stoics would say it this way, act rightly and the rest will follow. Your role is to act, the world's role is to respond. You cannot force the response, but you can perfect the action. Practice speaking less about results and acting more. Practice putting your full energy into your work, your craft, your growth, without obsessing over what it will bring back. When you detach from outcomes but not effort, you build a kind of resilience that is magnetic. You stop chasing and the world starts noticing. You stop fearing and opportunities begin to present themselves naturally. You stop pleading and people begin to respect your presence. This is not magic. This is the natural law of cause and effect working alongside clarity of mind. Detachment also protects your inner world. When you are invested in outcomes, every setback feels personal, every disappointment becomes a wound. When you detach, the same setback becomes a piece of information, a moment to adjust, a signal for your next step. You are no longer buffeted by the whims of circumstance because your sense of worth, your peace, your integrity, all remain intact. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." You see, the effort is yours to command, the outcome is not. But your mind, your focus, your resilience, they are entirely under your jurisdiction. Now let's make it practical. Choose one action each day where you will focus solely on effort. No expectation of praise, no anticipation of results. Simply act. Start small, a deliberate task, a thoughtful word, a consistent practice. Observe how it feels to give fully without clutching at the results. Note the difference in your energy, your calm, your clarity. Over time, this becomes a habit, a lens through which you view all of life. You are no longer a hostage to outcomes, but a master of effort. You become untouchable, grounded in the quiet strength of deliberate action. Remember, this is not about detachment as escape. It's detachment as power. When you stop equating your effort with the world's approval, you liberate yourself. You become unstoppable in ways that those clinging to results cannot understand. You'll find that people and opportunities that once felt elusive now come toward you naturally, effortlessly, because your energy is no longer scattered by fear or desperation. You show up fully. You let go fully. And in that letting go, life begins to flow toward you in ways it never could when you were gripping outcomes like a lifeline. So, start today. Detach from outcomes, but never from effort. Pour yourself into what is within your control. Release what is not. Watch as calmness, clarity, and magnetism transform your world. This is the Stoic path. This is the law of true detachment. This is how they'll come crawling back, not because you chased, but because you became untouchable through your own deliberate, liberated action. Number 6, control your reactions, not others' actions. You need to understand something fundamental. The only thing you truly have control over in this world is yourself. Not what others say, not what others do, not even how they feel about you. You only control your reactions, your choices, your thoughts, your energy. That's it. The moment you internalize this, your life shifts. You stop being tossed around by every opinion, every slight, every unexpected twist from someone else. Think of it like this. When someone insults you, you can let it sting, stew, and fester, or you can observe it, acknowledge it, and choose a calm response that doesn't rob you of peace. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This isn't just philosophy, it's a practical roadmap to living untouchable. So when someone behaves in a way that triggers anger, disappointment, or jealousy, pause, breathe, ask yourself, do I need to respond or do I need to respond wisely? That pause isn't weakness, it's mastery. Your reaction is the lever you hold. Their behavior is the weight they drop. You decide how heavy it feels. You decide whether it crushes you or barely touches the surface. This is the first habit to cultivate. Pause before reacting. Make it a reflex. Practice it daily. With time, the reflex strengthens and your energy stops leaking into battles that aren't yours to fight. Here, another truth, trying to control others is exhausting. Think about it. You can't dictate how people act, how they think, or how they value you. The harder you try, the more frustrated you become, and the more you tie your peace to things outside your control. Stoicism teaches you the opposite. Focus on the axis you can rotate. That's your mind, your behavior, your response. Shift your energy there, and suddenly, you're no longer a puppet of someone else's whims. You're grounded, you're centered, and ironically, that's when people start respecting you the most. When you stop chasing control over them, you gain it over yourself, and the world can't help but notice. Practicing control over your reactions doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It doesn't mean being cold, distant, or robotic. It means recognizing your emotions, feeling them fully, and then choosing action aligned with your values, not impulse. Picture a storm. If you run blindly, you get swept away. If you anchor yourself, the storm passes and you remain standing. You can do the same in daily life. Someone cuts you off in a conversation, someone ignores your effort, someone betrays trust. Your initial surge of anger is natural. But here, that's where mastery begins. Instead of lashing out or clinging, pause, observe. Decide the most rational, constructive response. Your calm becomes a signal louder than any words. People feel it, they recognize your strength. Start small. Notice the triggers that rattle you most. Maybe it's someone being late, someone dismissing your ideas, or someone questioning your decisions. When that trigger occurs, take 3 conscious breaths. Feel the tension, but don't let it dictate action. Ask yourself, what can I control here? What outcome do I want for myself, not them? Most times, the answer is simple. Maintain composure, preserve energy, and act in line with your principles. Repeat this. It builds a pattern of self-mastery that no one can disrupt. There's a deeper layer here. Controlling your reactions cultivates freedom. Freedom from resentment, freedom from unnecessary drama, freedom from emotional dependence on others' behavior. When you no longer hinge your mood, your self-worth, or your happiness on someone else's actions, you reclaim sovereignty over your life. And here's the beauty: people notice. Without you demanding, pleading, or chasing, they start to respect, admire, even miss the energy you bring. They'll come crawling back, not because you manipulated them, but because you demonstrated that your peace, your stability, and your presence are non-negotiable. That's the paradox. By detaching from control over others, you naturally draw influence. Let's cement this into habit. Each day, pick moments to practice reaction control. It can be as simple as responding calmly to criticism, letting someone else go first, or not engaging in gossip. Journal each instance. What triggered you, how you reacted, what you felt, and what you could improve. Reflecting strengthens awareness and rewires the impulse-response loop. Over time, what once demanded a reaction no longer does. You've trained your mind to default to composure, which is the true mark of Stoic power. And don't forget, controlling your reactions isn't passive. It's active, disciplined, deliberate. It's a choice you make every single time. Will you be ruled by the chaos of others, or will you be the calm center? Every pause, every breath, every measured response is a declaration. I decide who I am. I decide my peace. That declaration builds character, attracts respect, and slowly transforms relationships. People start adjusting around your steadiness because you no longer validate chaos or drama. You set the tone, not them. Finally, remember the words of Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every day presents opportunities to practice this. Every conversation, every interaction, every challenge is your training ground. Control your reactions, not others' actions, and you step into the arena untouchable. Others may come and go, act unpredictably, or disappoint, but your inner fortress remains intact. And when you master this, when your calm becomes habitual, when your reactions reflect wisdom rather than impulse, you'll notice something remarkable. The world bends to respect you naturally, and those who once sought to unsettle you may find themselves drawn back, not by your chasing, but by the quiet, unwavering strength you radiate. Number 7. Maintain calm in the face of drama. Imagine for a moment the last time someone tried to pull you into chaos. Maybe it was a heated conversation, someone trying to provoke you, or just the whirlwind of emotions swirling around a conflict you didn't even ask for. Most people react instinctively. They shout, argue, over-explain, or lash out. But you're learning a different path. You're learning the Stoic art of maintaining calm in the face of drama. This isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel anything. It's about reclaiming your power. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When drama erupts, your mind is the command center. Your thoughts are the generals and your calm is the shield. Start by pausing. Literally, give yourself a fraction of a second before responding. Breathe deeply, center yourself, and watch the emotional storm pass without pulling you under. Practice observing rather than reacting. Notice the urge to snap, the irritation that flares, the impulse to correct or control. Recognize it, label it, then release it. By simply noticing the pull of drama, you break its hold over you. You neutralize the chaos because you're no longer feeding it with your reaction. You can also cultivate mental rehearsal. Imagine a situation where someone tries to provoke you, then visualize yourself staying composed, responding with measured words or none at all. Do this repeatedly. Stoics believed in premeditatio malorum, anticipating challenges so you're ready when they come. When you practice, the next time drama appears, it feels less like an ambush and more like a scene you already know how to navigate. You aren't cold or detached in the sense of being indifferent to life. You are strategic, measured, and fully in control of your emotional territory. Now, understand this. Staying calm doesn't mean being passive. Drama often seeks to draw out a response, to test boundaries, to provoke instability. When you maintain calm, you deny it the fuel it craves. Others will see your composure and almost instinctively they will recalibrate. There's an invisible power in serenity. It is magnetic. People may initially be frustrated, confused, or even push harder, but your consistency becomes undeniable. Over time, the ones who matter, the ones who respect strength without theatrics, will return to you. They'll come crawling back not because you chased them, not because you demanded attention, but because you demonstrated that your presence is grounded, stable, and untouchable. To make this practical, start small. Next time someone tries to bait you, notice your first instinct. Resist the urge, take a breath. Ask yourself, does this reaction serve me or serve them? Often the answer is clear. Then respond thoughtfully or don't respond at all. Journal about these moments. Write down what the situation was, what you felt, and how you handled it. Reflecting like this strengthens your internal command. Your calm becomes a habit rather than an occasional choice. Also, remember that calmness is contagious. When you remain composed, you shift the emotional climate around you. Drama loses its intensity, tension diminishes, and even conflicts start resolving more quickly. By anchoring yourself, you anchor others too. This is not manipulation, it's leadership by example. You are demonstrating the Stoic principle that the only thing truly within your control is your mind. By mastering this, you wield an influence more powerful than shouting, arguing, or reacting ever could. Another exercise is mindfulness in the moment. During a tense interaction, focus on your breathing, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your heartbeat. Let these sensations remind you that you exist outside the chaos. You are not the argument, you are the observer. By cultivating this perspective, you reinforce detachment in real time. Drama is like water against a rock. You don't need to resist it, you let it flow around you. The key to making this a lifestyle is consistency. Maintaining calm isn't a one-time act, it's a muscle you build every day. Start in low-stakes situations. Traffic, minor irritations, small disagreements. Once you've mastered calm in these moments, high-stakes drama loses its grip. Your composure becomes your signature. And the beauty of this Stoic practice is that it doesn't just repel negativity, it attracts respect, trust, and even reconciliation. People are drawn to strength they cannot destabilize. So take this to heart, drama is inevitable. People will push, test, and provoke. But your response is everything. Pause, observe, breathe, decide, act, or don't. Anchor yourself in calm. By mastering this, you are no longer a participant in chaos but the eye of the storm. Others will notice. Others will adjust. And eventually, those who belong in your life, the ones worthy of your energy, will come back, drawn not by your chase but by your unshakable serenity. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Master your reaction and you master the world around you. Your calm is your shield. Your detachment is your magnet. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And in time, drama will no longer control your days. It will simply pass, leaving you stronger, steadier, and quietly in command. Number 8, let go of neediness in relationships. Let's start with this truth. Your worth is not measured by someone else's attention. It sounds simple, but the grip of neediness can make it feel impossible to internalize. You may find yourself constantly seeking validation, checking for signs of interest, or overanalyzing every message, every glance, every word. And here's the hard reality. The more you cling, the more your energy becomes tied to someone else's choices, moods, and whims. You give them control over your peace. That's not just exhausting, it's unnecessary. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Your mind, your peace, your presence, they are yours first, not theirs. Letting go of neediness starts with noticing it. The next time you feel that itch to reach out, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking connection or am I seeking reassurance that I'm enough? That small pause is a practice in detachment. You're training yourself to be complete without leaning on someone else for it. Detachment doesn't mean coldness. It doesn't mean indifference. It means clarity, awareness, and sovereignty over your emotions. It's the difference between loving freely and clinging desperately. Another way to practice is to cultivate self-reliance in your daily life. Invest in your own hobbies, your passions, your growth. The more you fill your life with purpose and fulfillment that doesn't depend on anyone else, the less your happiness hinges on their presence. You stop acting from fear of loss and start acting from desire to enrich your life. This shift is subtle at first, but it's powerful. People are drawn to someone who is grounded, centered, and unshakable in themselves. You become magnetic, not because you chase, but because you exist fully on your own terms. Now here's a practical exercise you can do. Set boundaries around communication. Don't feel pressured to reply instantly or to fill every silence. Let conversations breathe. Let absence have its space. Observe how this changes the dynamic. It's fascinating when you stop grasping, when you stop bending to prove your presence. The people who truly value you naturally seek you out. The ones who don't, they fall away, and that's perfectly fine. Stoicism teaches us to care about virtue, not approval. Your energy is precious. Don't waste it on compulsion or craving. You can also work on your inner dialogue. Every time you catch yourself thinking, I need them to feel secure, or they must respond, or I'm not enough, pause and challenge it. Replace it with I am complete, my peace is mine, their actions don't dictate my worth. Do this repeatedly. Over time, it rewires your emotional reflexes. You'll notice a lightness, a freedom in your interactions. You engage from choice, not from need. You're no longer tethered to outcomes, to approvals, to the unpredictable tides of someone else's attention. Detachment also allows you to experience love in its purest form. When you let go of neediness, your affection is given, not demanded. It's generous, not desperate. You show care without the invisible strings of expectation. You listen without anticipating validation. You're present because you choose to be, not because you hope to fill an emptiness inside yourself. This is profoundly liberating. You realize that relationships are not a lifeline to your identity, they are a complement to it. And here's the kicker. When you master detachment, something almost counterintuitive happens. People come back. Not because you played games or manipulated, but because your calm, composed energy is magnetic. Humans are drawn to those who are steady, self-possessed, and emotionally autonomous. The more you focus on yourself, your growth, your virtue, the more others are drawn toward you, not from obligation, not from fear, but from genuine attraction to your stability. Your freedom becomes their pull. Finally, remember that detachment is a journey, not a one-time act. It's practiced in the pauses, in the choices to stay centered, in the repeated commitment to not let your happiness depend on anyone else. Journaling can help. Each day, note where you felt neediness arise and how you responded. Reflect on how you could have acted from detachment instead. This builds awareness and gradually transforms your default reactions. Combine this with mindfulness exercises, breathing, meditation, even a short daily reflection, and you anchor yourself in presence rather than craving. Let go of neediness and you reclaim your life. You reclaim your power. You become unshakable, magnetic, free. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Your attachments, your cravings, your compulsions, they are under your control once you choose to exercise it. Let go and watch yourself, and the world around you, shift in ways that are both subtle and extraordinary. Number 9, radiate quiet confidence without showing it. Imagine walking into a room and feeling completely grounded, completely at ease, without a single need to prove yourself. That's the essence of quiet confidence. It's not about flexing or broadcasting. It's about a presence that speaks louder than words ever could. When you master detachment, you understand that true influence doesn't come from forcing attention. It comes from being so aligned with your own values, your own purpose, that others can't help but notice. You don't have to announce your worth or demand recognition. Your actions, your composure, your calm energy say it all. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Quiet confidence is your shield and your sword all at once. People will sense it, even if you never draw attention to it, and in ways you can't control, they'll come back to you. Start by observing yourself in daily interactions. Notice the moments when you feel the urge to impress, to explain, to assert. Each time that impulse arises, pause, take a breath. Let your presence alone carry the weight. Practice speaking only when it truly matters. Let your words be precise, calm, and intentional. There's immense power in restraint. The world is filled with noise, and those who rise above it are noticed, not for their volume but for their composure. Train your mind to embrace stillness, to feel secure in your own space. The more you internalize this, the more effortless it becomes. You'll notice a shift in how people respond to you. They lean in, they respect. They're drawn not by what you show them, but by the certainty and calm that radiates from you. Here's a practical exercise to cultivate this. In social interactions, make it a habit to listen more than you speak. Observe subtleties in tone, in body language, in energy. When you speak, do so with clarity and purpose, and then let silence carry the rest. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means refusing to let the opinions and reactions of others dictate your inner state. Every moment you practice this, you strengthen your presence. You become the calm in the storm, the unshakable center around which others orbit. And that in itself is magnetic. Another key practice is self-reliance. Quiet confidence thrives on the understanding that you are complete within yourself. You don't need validation, approval, or recognition to feel worthy. Your value is inherent, unshakable, and not dependent on external circumstances. Seneca reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By mastering your own mind, your own reactions, you radiate a stability that others subconsciously crave. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, yet irresistibly compelling. People notice authenticity and security. They instinctively respond to it. When you stop seeking approval, when you stop trying to be seen, you paradoxically become more visible in the ways that matter. Visualize yourself in moments where you feel the pressure to perform, to explain, to assert dominance. Instead, breathe, stand tall, and allow your calm to lead. Your posture, your eye contact, your measured responses, all of these silently communicate power. You don't have to tell the world you're confident, you just are. Over time, this internalized calm becomes second nature. It's a force that doesn't shout, it simply exists, and that existence commands respect. The people who matter, those who are meant to be influenced by you, will naturally gravitate toward that energy. It's not manipulation, it's alignment with your true self. To make this practical, integrate daily moments of deliberate stillness. Sit quietly each morning, focus on your breath, and remind yourself that your worth and power are inherent, not conditional. Notice the fleeting impulses to seek attention or approval throughout your day. Gently redirect them inward, cultivating internal assurance. Each day you practice this, you reinforce your quiet confidence. Over time, this becomes your default state, and your presence alone communicates strength, clarity, and reliability. Remember, quiet confidence is not about arrogance or detachment from reality. It's about mastery over your internal state. It's about choosing when to act and when to remain still, understanding that not every moment requires proof of your worth. You'll find that as you embrace this, people respond differently. They seek your insight, they value your calm presence, and they naturally return to your orbit. Not because you commanded it, but because you embodied something they find rare, grounded, self-assured, and unshakable calm. In essence, when you radiate quiet confidence without showing it, you become magnetic without effort. You become the person who commands respect without demanding it, who inspires without declaring it, who leads by simply being. Your detachment becomes your power, your composure becomes your influence, and the world starts to respond to the authentic, unshakable energy that only you can radiate. Keep practicing, keep refining, and watch as your quiet strength reshapes the way people perceive you, gravitating naturally toward your calm, unwavering presence. Number 10, live by principle, not by people's expectations. Imagine waking up each day carrying the invisible weight of everyone else's expectations. You're constantly bending, adjusting, and performing, trying to fit into roles crafted by others, and in the process, losing sight of who you actually are. That, my friend, is the trap you fall into when you let people dictate your choices. Stoicism offers a different path, one that frees you from the chains of external approval and anchors you in something far stronger: principle. When you live by principle, you anchor yourself in a core set of values that aren't swayed by gossip, judgment, or fleeting trends. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Think about that. Your compass isn't the shifting winds of other people's desires. It's the steady beat of your own reasoned judgment. Living by principle means you stop measuring success by applause or recognition. You no longer shape your behavior around what will make people like you, admire you, or tolerate you. Instead, every decision, every action is filtered through the lens of what aligns with your values. And here's the truth: this is exactly what draws people back to you. When others see someone who is consistent, unwavering, and grounded, curiosity turns into respect, and respect often turns into admiration. People naturally gravitate toward those who don't bend under pressure or perform for attention. Your calm, principled presence becomes magnetic, not because you're seeking it, but because you embody a stability they lack. This doesn't mean you become cold or disconnected. Principles don't strip you of empathy, they refine it. You can care deeply about others without letting their expectations dictate your choices. Think of it like this: a tree rooted deeply in the earth bends in the wind but never breaks. It sways with the storm, it provides shade, but it does not uproot itself to please the birds that perch on its branches. Your principles are your roots. They give you resilience. They give you integrity. And every action guided by them strengthens your sense of self. Here's a practical exercise you can start today. Write down 3 principles that you refuse to compromise on. Maybe honesty, maybe courage, maybe self-respect. Every time you face a decision or feel pressure to conform, ask yourself, does this align with my principle or with someone else's expectation? Answering honestly may feel uncomfortable at first. You'll feel tension, maybe even guilt. That's okay. That tension is the sound of freedom stretching its wings. Over time, that discomfort fades, replaced by clarity and peace. Another exercise is to observe your reactions throughout the day. Notice when you catch yourself bending, saying what you think others want to hear, or suppressing what you really feel. Pause, take a breath, reorient, choose the principled path instead. The more you practice this, the less power external validation holds over you. You're training your mind to find its equilibrium within itself, not outside of it. And when your inner world is calm and consistent, the outer world will respond differently than you expect. People will stop trying to pull you in directions that don't serve your values. They'll stop testing your patience, your will, your attention. And when they see someone who cannot be swayed, they'll come to you, not because you chased them, but because your groundedness calls them. A final key idea is understanding that principle is not static. Life changes and you grow. Principles should guide your path, but they should also evolve with your understanding. Living by principle is not about rigid rules, it's about steadfast reasoning. Seneca reminds us, no man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom and the power that comes with it is cultivated deliberately. By choosing a principle-driven life, you invite growth that is intentional, not reactive. You decide your actions, not circumstances or expectations. You shape your destiny quietly, methodically, with every decision reflecting your values. So, start small but start consistently. Stand firm when it matters. Speak the truth when silence tempts you. Choose integrity over convenience. Watch how people react, not to validate you, but to witness the gravity of someone living fully aligned with themselves. The magic of detachment lies here. When your life is guided by principle, people will come back to you. They'll come back to the consistency, the calm, the authenticity that they cannot manufacture themselves. And when they do, you'll smile quietly because you were never doing it for them in the first place. You were doing it for yourself. That is the essence of Stoic power. Your life is yours, your values unshakable, and your peace intact. You have the tools. You have the wisdom of centuries of Stoic thought. All that's left is to live it moment by moment, choice by choice. Anchor yourself in principle, and the world will adjust. Anchor yourself in people's expectations, and the world will always sway you. The choice is yours, and every time you choose principle, you practice detachment. And in detachment, you find the quiet power that draws them back effortlessly, inevitably. This is where true freedom begins. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. What if I told you the moment you stop clinging, the moment you stop needing approval, you unlock a kind of freedom that's magnetic? When you master detachment, you no longer chase validation. You simply radiate it. People will notice your calm, your clarity, your unshakable presence, and yes, they'll come back, not because you begged, but because your peace is irresistible. This isn't about manipulation, it's about mastery. Mastery over your emotions, your reactions, your life. So take a breath, step back, and observe yourself thriving without attachment. Build your inner fortress, value your own company, and let the world adjust to your energy. The power was yours all along. You just had to stop surrendering it.